Okay, welcome, and I'm glad that you've joined me today. Every experience begins with a thought, and our experiences change when we change that thought. In this series, we will focus on the thoughts and emotions relating to special meridian points located along the sides of the spine and corresponding to the vertebrae, and they're called Huatuojiaji points. Each point connects to specific areas of your body and nervous system, and we'll be working on opening the Huatuo points along the spine to increase qi flow and activation of the nervous system, so your body has access to the life force and information that it needs to heal itself. I will help you do this through Qigong healing and the use of forgiveness and affirmations. C6 is related to the thyroid, and it is affected by inflexibility, resistance, overload, excessive burdens, and trying to fix other people. When it becomes blocked and energy is not flowing, issues of the thyroid begin to show. When C6 is stimulated, it may help the thyroid gland return to normal. Blockages and stagnation for long periods can also lead to tonsillitis, stiff neck pain, upper arm pains, coughs, and respiratory ailments. And it can inhibit the flow of the throat chakra and our ability to speak truth. By clearing the stagnant energy in each point and infusing it with life force energy, your body will have what it needs to correct and harmonize any dysfunction that has accumulated over the years. Life happens whether we choose it or not, and it can have a great impact on how we live our lives and view our lives. We will identify areas where energy is inflamed, stuck, stagnant, and refusing to flow because of old beliefs of dependence, controlling experiences, shame and humiliations, fears, the stories we tell ourselves, people, lifestyles, attitudes, and demands. We will focus on beliefs that your mind is ready to embrace or release, where it is ready for change, progress, and transformation. So embrace these thoughts. Feel them deep within your body, within your mind and your soul, and allow them to penetrate deep into your heart. Because you are absolutely worthy of every virtue. You are worthy of every life-giving belief. As you hear these statements and let them into your heart, they will transform you gently, profoundly, and bring greater and higher good in your life. So take a deep breath, and we will start. Place your hand on your chest, touching the two fear points with your thumb and index finger. The spots may be tender. Hold your hand there, and you may massage the points if they are tender. The important thing is supporting these points with your energy through the palm of your hand. Or you can hold your hands in prayer position at your heart space. This is particularly effective if you're holding rare earth magnets and the South Pole is facing on your right hand. Or you can also use a piece of quartz crystal, jade, or selenite. Imagine looking into a mirror and looking into your eyes and talking directly into your soul. In this moment, speak this maxim to yourself with the care and compassion you would give to the most apprehensive of beings. So repeat after me and look into your eyes. Take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason, treat with courtesy, act with emotion, and accomplish results. Let's say it one more time, and this time speaking it into the C6 vertebrae, increasing the life force with honest kindness and respect for its importance and place and function. Take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason, treat with courtesy, act with emotion, and accomplish results. Now take a deep breath And we will breathe after each statement, consciously creating new pathways of response and allowing the energy to freely and lovingly flow. So carefully listen to each statement and try to repeat after me in your mind. Breathe. I give myself permission to bring up and address the unconscious beliefs that have kept me stuck in patterns of response that bring harm to myself and others. Breathe. I give myself permission to forgive the people and institutions that have influenced my beliefs when they have encouraged distorted ideas, even when they believed it was good. Breathe. I forgive those in my life experience so far who intentionally or unintentionally caused me harm because of their own broken and distorted interpretations of life. Breathe. I forgive myself for my incorrect interpretation of the love and care offered to me by those who truly wanted to show love. Breathe. I ask others to forgive me when I have hurt or caused harm because of my mistaken interpretation of reality. Breathe. I forgive myself for any resistance I have towards embracing all that is good, lovely, and precious. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that miraculous transformation, healing, change, and opportunities only happen after long, toiling effort, self-degradation, or that they don't happen for me. Breathe. I embrace all opportunities, gifts, and love that flow to me without hesitation or skepticism, but with thankfulness and gratitude. Breathe. I give myself permission to surrender and allow for the highest and greatest good to come to me and transform me and remake me. And breathe. I forgive myself for distorting my alignment with myself, with the great creator, and with great nature, because I do not know my true self. Breathe. I give myself permission to accept my true self and clear the blockages that keep me distorted in my physical health, in my emotional health, my social health, and my spiritual health. Breathe. I give myself permission to take responsibility for whatever comes into my presence with gratitude and calmness. Breathe. I forgive myself for knowingly or unknowingly creating the emotional and physical patterns that block my flow and connection to myself, heaven, earth, or humanity. And breathe. I give myself permission to grow and evolve by giving up the stories of the past so that the universe can write new ones. Breathe. I love and accept myself now as I begin to understand and accept the corrections to any false programming and beliefs I may have received as a child. Breathe. I love and accept myself as I align myself to think and feel in the way the universe thinks and feels, accepting the miracles that flow through me, around me, above me, and below me. Breathe. I love and accept that the universe is highly flexible, and I can be too. Because when I'm flexible, which is in harmony with the universe, I am open to the infinite possibilities, and then possibilities will appear. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that it is more important to care for others instead of myself. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I need others to fix things for me. Breathe. I forgive myself for carrying others' burdens and becoming angry with the weight. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing it is noble and holy to fix others and ignore myself. Breathe. I forgive myself for resisting and being inflexible in my expectations of others. Breathe. I forgive myself for feeling overwhelmed when I have my burdens to carry and the burdens of everyone else. Breathe. I forgive myself for agreeing to more than I can take on. Breathe. I forgive myself for not respecting my own power. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I know better than someone else. Breathe. I forgive myself for taking away others' power to satisfy my own need to fix them to my standards. Breathe. I forgive myself for not lovingly allowing others to experience their own lessons. And breathe. I forgive myself for not loving myself enough to care for myself. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I am not worth putting effort into. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that life is a struggle. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that moving easily through life is not for me. Breathe. I forgive myself for being afraid of humiliating myself. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I can never get to do what I want to do. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I have to wait my turn to enjoy life. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I cannot move beyond old limitations and allow myself to freely express my creativity. Breathe. I forgive myself for hating all the times that I have been inflicted upon. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I am the victim. Breathe. I forgive myself for feeling thwarted in life. Breathe. I forgive myself for feeling unfulfilled and accepting that is my life. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing I have no power and authority in my life. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I am not free to be myself. Breathe. I forgive myself for raging within when I am left out. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that life exists around me and controls my center and what I am allowed to interact with. Breathe. I forgive myself for giving up and resigning my life to the whims of others. Breathe. I forgive myself for feeling hopelessly stifled and powerless. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that it is impossible for me to create a new life with new rules that fully support me. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I cannot shoulder the experiences in life joyously. Breathe. I forgive myself for making life a burden by my attitude. Breathe. I forgive myself for being afraid to choose and allow joyous and loving experiences. Breathe. I forgive myself for every time I am afraid. Breathe. I forgive myself for every time I am afraid to show my feelings. Breathe. I forgive myself for every time I am afraid to create something new. Breathe. I forgive myself for every time I am afraid and stick to the same routine, even when it hurts. Breathe. I forgive myself for every time that fear blocks my engagement with the new and I comply. Breathe. I forgive myself for every time I block inspiration from the divine when I am afraid of change. And breathe. I forgive myself for being unbending and bullheaded with myself and others. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that it is not safe to see or hear others' viewpoints, especially when they're opposite of mine. Breathe. I forgive myself for putting limitations on the capacity and ability to hold the experiences of life. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I can't hold and embrace life with kindness, ease, and joy. Breathe. I forgive myself for feeling guilty and looking for ways to punish myself. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that my lack and pain is deserved. Breathe. I forgive myself for refusing to release the past. I forgive myself for believing that I must control myself and others. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing I need to bark at the world in order to be seen and heard. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that the only way to feel loved is to have attention placed on me. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that it is normal to have an inflamed family environment. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing it is normal to have arguments and yelling. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing it is normal to give and receive the silent treatment. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that chaos is a form of harmony. Breathe. I forgive myself for believing that it is not possible for me to be well. Breathe. I forgive myself for being afraid to fully take in life. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I am not safe and I am powerless to do anything about it. And breathe. I forgive myself for not loving my life. And breathe. I now give myself permission to unblock both sides of the Huatuojiaji points of C6, opening and activating the flow of qi and information through C6, communicating freely with all parts of my body, mind, and spirit, and raising the quality of my thoughts. Breathe. I give myself permission to see the past, present, and future clearly and honestly. Breathe. I give myself permission to take responsibility for every aspect of creating the life that supports me and that I love. Breathe. I give myself permission to gain wisdom through joyfully accepting the experiences of life in all their diversity. Breathe. I give myself permission to release all that keeps me from seeing and hearing and speaking the truth. Breathe. Without burdens, overload, trying to fix others, resistance, and inflexibility, I am free to align my life with my spiritual self and the energies of the universe. Breathe. When I am aligned with truth and love, I am free to lovingly release others to their own lessons. Breathe. I am free to lovingly care for myself. Breathe. I am free to move with ease through life. Breathe. I am free to move beyond old limitations and now allow myself to express freely and creatively. Breathe. I am free to be the power and authority in my life. Breathe. I am free to be me. And breathe. I am free to be the center of my life, and I approve of myself and all that I see and do and experience. Breathe. I am free to create a new life with new rules that totally support me. Breathe. I am free to choose to allow all my experience to be joyous and loving. Breathe. I am free to feel my good, and it now flows freely through me. And breathe. I am free to experience divine ideas flowing through me now. Breathe. I am free to be at peace. And breathe. I am free to believe it's safe to see others' viewpoints. And breathe. I am free to lovingly hold and embrace my experiences with ease and with joy. Breathe. I am free to lovingly release the past. And breathe. I am free and others are free too. Breathe. I am free to feel that all is well in my heart now. And breathe. I am free to be noticed and appreciated in the most positive ways. Breathe. I am free to declare peace and harmony within me and around me. And breathe. I am free to be well and whole. Breathe. I am free to feel safe. And breathe. I am free to love my life. Breathe. I am free to declare peace and harmony and invite it to dwell with me and surround me at all times. Breathe. I am free to have the power, strength, and knowledge to handle everything in my life, perfectly aligned and supported in all things. Breathe. With the power of my divine consciousness, I now create connection and harmony with all things in myself and in my world in a way that inspires kindness, friendliness, honesty, and goodwill. And breathe. I give myself permission to flow genuine love and sincere compassion to all that is in my range of influence. Breathe. And I love and accept myself, freely offering connection from the brightest place of my heart. Breathe. Take another long, deep breath and release all that does not align with truth. And continue to breathe in this way as I leave this blessing with you. As a bird soars high in the free holding of the wind, clear of the certainty of ground, opening the imagination of wings into the grace of emptiness, to fulfill new voyagings, may your life awaken to the call of its freedom. You are now creating new alignments, stronger and more powerful beliefs, letting go of the stories of the past and creating new supportive and harmonious ones to manifest the peace, happiness, and calm that is divinely gifted to you at all times. So smile and embrace the universe as you start making a positive difference in your world. Thank you.